Welcome to the Heartland Journal's Tennessee podcast with your host, Steve Abramowitz, editor-in-chief of heartlandjournal.com.
In case you haven't figured out, howdy y'all, welcome back to the show. I'm Steve Abramowitz, and this is the Heartland Journal podcast. Thanks for joining us. This show, we're focusing on our nation today with always an interesting person making a positive change in our community. So welcome to the People in the News, where I interview people who are making an impact and are lovers of truth. You just heard a bunch of it. Today we're talking to you from Nashville, Tennessee, like always, but this time, Lovable Losers Studio, home field recording studio of Porter Martin. He was kind enough to invite us in to see where the magic happens and talk songwriting. Porter Martin is a talented country singer-songwriter hailing from the heart of Nashville, Tennessee. Drawing inspiration from the legendary Waylon Jennings, Porter's music embodies the spirit of outlaw country with a modern twist. When he's not captivating audiences with his soulful voice and heartfelt lyrics, you can find Porter here at Lovable Losers Studios, expertly grilling up some mouthwatering meats while penning his next chart-topping hit. I get some right after this interview if I can stand it. It smells really good. Porter has been writing, performing, and recording original music for more than 30 years. Yeah?
That's crazy.
His album has sold thousands of copies, both in the U.S. and around the world. Porter, how are you today?
I'm great, man. Happy to have you out at the studio. I still think it's so cool that I'm doing this on my farm. You know, this was just a 90-year-old man owned this place when I bought it, and it was kind of a mess. You know, it wasn't finished out. It's still not completely finished out, but yeah, it's what a blessing to be able to. I mean, we have all the gear. We track here. We have the podcast set up now. Just blessed, man.
Yeah, I'm intimidated. This podcast rig is better than the one I use every day,
well,
so it's fantastic.
My business partner, my publishing company, Lovable Losers, he's a film beast. You know, he's a film director, producer, he's award winning. So
what's his name?
Sean Overbeek.
Sean Overbeek. All right. Hi, Sean. So Lovable Losers Studios, dedicated to empowering songwriters' passion and talent to shape the heart of the music industry. Legendary. So how did this amazing place come about for you?
A good friend of mine, he helps me out on the farm, and one day we were standing out here, and I had just tools and parked my tractor in here before, and I basically just told him I had this vision of turning this into a publishing company and writing here, several times a week and tracking here, and it kind of started with just talking to him about it, and I think that I think if you got to keep talking about something, keep putting it in your mind, for it to eventually happen, and it did.
Dream big,
but
right? So these walls can talk, right?
Yeah, man. It's this is basically like a songwriting factory. It's a song factory. We'll come in like on a Tuesday's usually our lovable day, and I'll come in at 9:00, fire the smoker up. Everybody shows up at 10:00. We usually use the big TV and put the lyric sheet up on the TV so everybody can see it, and we just start writing, get on an idea, and hopefully have a verse and a chorus by lunchtime. We break for lunch. We pray over our food, pray over the song, and usually finish it up by like 1 or 2 o'clock.
So who sat in here and banged out some hits?
I'd say the coolest person, she's probably one of my favorites, is Lainey Wilson. She came out and we wrote one a few months back. Me and her and Casey Beathard. He's a legendary songwriter.
Legendary. So let's talk about Lovable Losers, the writers that make up this place, the real heart and soul, the spirit. You, Sean Overbeek, we talked about. Daniel House.
Yeah, Daniel's actually our only writer at the moment. We signed him a few months back,
from Mississippi.
Yes, he is a Mississippi boy.
Tequila Rose, I think I saw.
Any
Funny stories about him?
Well, he had Tequila Rose, and he had a little bit of music out when I met him a year and a half ago or so. My uncle saw him play, I think in my hometown in Demopolis, Alabama. He sent me a video, and he's like, "You got to check this guy out." And I listened to it, and I was like, "Man, he's awesome. Like, I'd love to have him up to write." So we got on a phone call, kind of hit it off, and he's probably like 40, 50 minutes from my hometown, Meridian, Mississippi.
Kind of a Darius Rucker meets, who would be a good...
John Party.
John Party, okay, yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
All right, there you go. He's your guy.
Yeah.
Houze, for folks who want to Google that.
Yeah, it's a cool name, right?
Yeah.
He was up here. He was up here, I think the second time he came up to write. We wrote a couple songs early on in the week, and the day that he was leaving at like 12 o'clock or something that day, and we just decided to try to get on another song that morning. And he had this, couple lines and a vibe, and it just light bulb in my head went off, and I was like, "Have you written House Party with a Z?" And he's like, "No, man." I was like, "Well, that's you, like, 'cause you're like John Party. He plays all the honky tonks. He loves a party, and people, country music loving people, beer drinking." Oh, yeah. Glass in the air kind of thing.
Song like House Divided or something.
Yeah.
You could play House all day long.
Well, I was like, dude, that's your song, like House Party. And we wrote verse, chorus, then he left. He had to go. So I finished it out with the other writer that was with us that day. And that's actually, I don't think he's formally announced it, but I produced a 4-song EP for him.
Okay.
And it's titled House Party.
Right, that's
it's a great record. Another song, Country Lives On. It's kind of like a shout out to all the greats, and he says, like, one of the lines is, there'll never be another Charlie Pride.
Charlie Pride is actually who I was trying to name, so I'm glad
yeah,
you said that,
yeah. But I'm really excited about people hearing this. We're just kind of
in the fourth quarter of the Alabama game, like they just took Morgan Wallen over for Garth Brooks at the UTK fourth quarters.
Do you think they did that because of the Garth Brooks scandal that's going on right now?
That, and he was in favor of Bud Light.
Oh, yeah,
he shouldn't have been, and
yeah.
he almost blew his whole bar opening on Broadway. Broadway has too many bars. I'm happy to talk about that too, but yeah.
Another reason not to get into politics. It makes you wonder if they're paying them or something.
It does, doesn't it?
Because
he doesn't need the money.
That's why. Is it worth it? Like, I'm just like, why can't it just be about music again? Like, Dolly Parton has done that her entire career.
If you sever off at least half the country as your fan base, then why are you in business, right? Don't you want to make as many people happy, sell something as affordable for the most people you possibly can,
Mm-hmm.
like Ford did? Like, why would you do that? Unless you're a washed up has-been and you just got nothing better to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you tweet out like Barbra Streisand does. No offense if she's related to you, but you mentioned your uncle. Is your uncle a musician too?
No.
Okay. Just saw someone at a bar and said, "You got to talk to my nephew."
I mean, basically, he just. It's funny because he kind of calls himself the scout for Lovable, and he also calls himself the president.
He ain't our guy.
So he's like, "Well, you got to okay it with me. I'm the president."
Okay.
Yeah, he's an amazing man. He's a Hall of Famer, veteran. He saved a couple people's lives, like, just randomly, like Heimlich maneuver, and I mean, he's just a
country music.
He's an interesting guy. Sports Hall of Fame, actually. Baseball. He's a Little League baseball coach.
Let me ask you a question, and then I want to get back into the details of your business here. But someone said true country music is honesty, sincerity, and real life to the hilt. That was Garth Brooks, who we were just talking about. Chris Ledoux, Cody Johnson, these guys are real bull riders. They make music. There's authenticity there. What do you think about modern country music and authenticity? What are they pumping out these days?
Oh, it's like all over the place in the country genre. Obviously, Beyonce, Post Malone. It's kind of like you can do anything now. But my idea of country music is just a few chords and the truth, and then coupled with, Americana style production and simplicity. Simple stupid is what I say when I'm tracking. Always just
Simple stupid. That's
yep.
cool. Yeah. So let me give you one more, see what it sparks in your mind. Of emotions, of love, of breakup, love, hate, and death. Dying, mama, apple pie. It covers a lot of territory. Country music does. That's Johnny Cash.
Love Johnny Cash. First song I ever played in front of anybody was a Johnny Cash song, Folsom Prison. My dad took me up to a local bar in my hometown called the Red Barn. It's a barn, like a 100-something-year-old barn, restaurant, steakhouse on the bottom, and at the time, a smoky bar on the top. And 16 years old, my dad apparently thought I was ready, and took me up there on a Wednesday night. There's a couple guys playing acoustic. The guy's name was Boyd Duckett. He was nice enough to let me come up and do one, and I did Folsom Prison, and came off the stage. Everybody was clapping, and I was just like, man, I want to do this. This is fun. I was nervous, though, man. I was so nervous. I was like, Dad, man, I don't know if I can do this. He's like, no, you got it. You got it. You do it all the time at the house. Just go up there and do it. And, yeah, it was awesome. He had to drag me out of there, though, because all the girls wanted to talk to me after I came off the stage.
Did your dad give you your first guitar?
No, he didn't want me to play. No, I was a baseball guy because my uncle coached Little League. Before I was born, my dad coached with him. They loved Little League baseball and coaching kids. So, like, my mom was throwing BP to me when I was, like, 2 out in the backyard. So, yeah, he wanted me to stick to sports and didn't want me playing guitar. A friend of mine quit the baseball team at around 13 years old, and he bought a guitar.
Is it Nashville High School? Or
no, this is in Demopolis, Alabama.
Okay.
And he bought a guitar, quit playing sports. I'd go over to hang out with him, and he would show me this Nirvana song that he learned, and I'm like, man, this is so cool. I just fell in love with it. And
that's 3 chords, folks, right there. That's
yeah, and so after he bought one, and I saw that he was learning songs that I liked, I just wanted to do it, and I didn't have a job at 13 years old, and my dad was just like, no, I'm not getting you a guitar. Well, his neighbor, his name was Tommy. He would go over to Tommy's house, and they'd drink beer and cook on the grill and talk sports and stuff. And I'd go over with him sometimes and hang out and sit. And this one time, my dad, he got a call from my mom. He had to go back to the house. I just hung out with my neighbor, and I was talking to him about wanting to play guitar and how I could approach my dad to get him to do it and to agree to it. And Tommy goes, well, I got a guitar in the attic. And my dad plays, and he gave it to me, and I just didn't like it. You can have it. And I was like, well, my dad's going to get mad. And he's like, tell your dad to call me if he's got a problem with it, and tell him I want you to have it. And I was like, okay. And so I took the guitar home. My dad, the look on his face was, he was clearly, pretty pissed off. But then he said, if this gets in the way of your grades or in the way of baseball, that's it. And I was like, okay. Yeah, so, and then from that moment forward, I was like, okay, I got to learn the Eagles, because that's his favorite. I'm like, if I can sell my dad, then, he's going to be cool with it, And I didn't want to quit baseball or anything like that at the time. I just wanted to play, and it was fun. So I learned how to play Lion Eyes, Take It Easy, Peaceful Easy Feeling, Tequila Sunrise. Those are still some of my favorite songs. But I go in the den and sit down, and I'm like, Dad, check this out. And I played Tequila Sunrise, and he goes, how'd you learn that? I said, Napster and tablature. They had tabs at the time, they still have them, but I just downloaded the tabs, showed me where to put my fingers, and I learned how to play it. And I think in that moment, I had him.
That's awesome.
So like 2 weeks later, at the time, you ordered everything off the catalog, like a Bass Pro catalog or whatever. There was a Musician's Friend catalog with all music stuff in
That's
it.
where I got my amp, yeah.
There you go. Well, a bunch of boxes showed up one day, a couple weeks after I played that Eagles song for him, and it was an entire PA system from Musician's Friend.
He did that.
Yeah, he bought me a whole system to like.
You sold him real well.
I did. So, and he became my biggest fan. He still is. He's my
awesome.
biggest critic too. And yeah, that after that, he took me up to the Red Barn, put me in front of people. Then I started playing out at people's backyards, birthday parties, weddings, pieced a band together. By 2008, I was opening for Brantley Gilbert, Montgomery Gentry. I shared the stage with Dierks Bentley, Cole Swindell. Like, it was just crazy how all of a sudden, I have my band and I'm on these big stages at like festivals in Montgomery and, playing.
I'm not kidding when I say there's God-given talent in there. I've heard it. Let's talk about a few more folks and we'll circle back to that.
Yeah, I want to show you this guitar though.
Oh, let's see it.
I actually still have it. It's
This is the first one?
It's broken, but this is the very first one. It's actually in pieces, the back of it.
Oh, yeah.
The back of it's completely off right now, but
This is the one that goes in the Smithsonian one day when you're
that's it.
retired?
And let me tell you, this thing is so hard to play because the strings were off of the fretboard like half an inch, so you had to push down a half an inch.
So it just sat up in the attic for a decade and then you got it?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
That's it.
You're going to restore it. Or are you just going to keep
Crazy.
it as a museum piece?
I don't know. I just actually the reason I got a new guitar was because I set it up against the wall one night,
in a bed.
and at like 3:00 in the morning, it fell
Oh.
and it broke completely.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, and then my dad finally bought me a guitar.
Oh, that is really good stuff.
Yeah, man. I actually took it. I took it to a guitar shop to see if they'd fix it up, and he was like, "Dude,
It's done.
this is gonna cost so much money," and so I didn't do it. I'll wait till I get a number one, and then it won't matter.
There you go.
All right.
James Travis Dawes.
Hold on one second.
You still working with him? That's okay.
All right. James Dawes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met him.
He's another one of your writers.
Well, he's not. We haven't signed anybody but Daniel.
Okay.
I have a lot of people that come in and out. He's one of them. Okay. I met James. I don't know, probably like 5 or 6 years ago, maybe 7. I'm not sure. I have to think about that. But when I met him, he was sleeping in his truck. He loaded his truck with his guitars and his clothes and just drove to Nashville and like started parking in Walmart parking lots.
One of those dreamers.
Yeah, and he's like, I was like, how do you do that? Do they not like kick you out? And he's like, well, you can stay 2 nights and then they'll kick you out. So I just go to different Walmarts every 2 days. And I was like, wow, man, it gave me such like perspective, because I didn't do that. I mean, I was living in Birmingham and I drove up here 3-hour drive and I'd do 2 rides a day. I'd do like a whole week of that and then I'd go back but I never had to sleep in my truck, man. And
He's from Central Florida,
yeah.
and he had that release Badass last year in June, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
And he's kind of a George Strait, Alan Jackson type.
Yeah, he's very, that's a good description of him. But I have, since I met him, I just had it on my heart to love on this kid, and had him come out to write, and turns out that he was, all of that knowledge of country music and songs and lyrics. He's a great songwriter. Like he has a way of looking at the lyric and going, "Hey, what if we did this?" And like he's good at making it better, and he pushes and
some poetry in there.
Yeah, he's a good writer. That song at the time, Whiskey Jam. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's basically like a Thursday night jam. My friend Ward Gunther does this every week, and I don't think he's missed a Monday or Thursday in like 10 years or something like that. But it was basically designed to have local Nashville writers and writers and artists outside of Nashville and Tennessee come and perform their original music. They do 3 songs, then the next act goes on. It's like usually like 7 or 8 acts.
Writers round?
Not a writers round. It's a jam. So you could play acoustic. You could bring a band in. You get 3 songs. Next act comes on. Goes all night. And they invited James to come up. At the time, he was living in a single wide in Brooksville, Florida, doing a cappella videos, staring at the phone, and he would he'd tag Jason Aldean, Brantley Gilbert, and all these people, and he'd just sing their song a cappella. And he did a Brantley Gilbert song one time, and Brantley retweeted it. And later, Brantley, this is according to James. He said Brantley's team told him not to do that, but he loved James so much that he just said, "I'm gonna do it anyways." And then I think that's how the rest of Nashville kind of, became aware of James. And then
Ward, like the Richmond, north of Richmond, with
kind of, but like James is also like at the time he was, there was no filter with him, and I felt like there was a lot of artists in town that were watching his videos, going, "Man, I wish I could say what he's saying because I feel that way too," kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. No label in the way.
Yeah, so he was just telling it like it is, like and singing like he doesn't care what anybody thinks. There's some kind of freedom in that. That's the way I see it. But
that's the authentic stuff we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. And he comes up to town. They flew him up here. Like a bunch of people pitched in to fly him up because he didn't have the funds or anything to come up. Right. And the story is that it was a 6-year anniversary for Whiskey Jam. It was like David Nell, Love and Theft, Luke Combs, they were all on the bill. Well, the story is Ward called Luke to ask Luke if he'd play the show, and Luke was aware of James, and Luke said, "I'll do the show, but only if JTD plays it too." So that's when they got their money together and flew him up, and he closed the show out after Luke Combs. And that was his like intro to Nashville. Like wow. They flew him up, they booked him with like hit songwriters, and just like gave him they rolled out the red carpet. Next thing you know, he's writing with Brett Tyler, and they wrote Badass. And it's crazy. The funniest part though is, and I was there because I wanted to go to that show because it was right when Luke Combs was breaking, Hurricane was taking off, and I wanted to go see this guy. And no joke, Luke finishes up, and everybody's clapping and going crazy, and he comes off stage, and then James comes up to do his set, and he goes and walks up to the microphone, and he goes, "All right, y'all ready for some real country music?" And I was like, "Dadgum, man, you just like shit on Luke Combs like it's nothing, But yeah, that's just who he is. He really thinks he's the best singer in town. He looked in my eyes and told me he's better than Stapleton.
All right, well, so that's tell us about the writing industrial complex here in Nashville, because you probably know the songwriter Jonathan Singleton.
Yeah, I met him years ago.
He wrote Beer Never Broke My Heart for Luke Combs, and he actually said there are like 100,000 writers here in town, but only about 1,000 or less get all the songs we hear published on the radio. Is that about right?
I'd say so. Yeah, it's it's such a small community.
He also said that song put his kids through college, so when it's
I don't doubt it.
Huge.
I don't doubt it. And he's been in it for a long time, so I would say his cuts years ago probably made a lot more money than you make these days. It's kind of tough to make money as a writer if they're not going to radio with your song, because streaming just doesn't pay that much.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that too. But what hardships has being independent caused you versus these big guys?
I don't know if I'd call it a hardship. I just I love music. Like I also want to eat, and I got into real estate because I wasn't making money like I thought I would be as a writer. But I got in real estate at a really good time, made a lot of money, and now I'm, I'm basically like comfortable enough to where I have funds to support what I'm doing right now, because it's hard to make money in music, but I think like 80% of the income comes from touring, ticket sales, merch. So the way that I'm doing it is I'm trying to get my following built up and release as much music in shortest amount of time, and content. Like,
because the albums don't sell anymore now. It's
right.
clips of a track.
Yeah,
and
it's
so,
crazy.
Like with Spotify and all the streaming platforms like YouTube, not only do artists have to tour constantly to make a living out of it, unless you're already huge like Garth Brooks or Tim McGraw, but I see young people arriving daily, like you were describing, trying to give it a go. Do you think the possibility to strike it big time still exists in Nashville, like Taylor Swift and Garth Brooks at the Bluebird, that type of thing, or is that whole model done?
The thing is, like, I feel like if an industry executive sees you at the Bluebird, I don't really think it matters how good you are. They're gonna just look up your TikTok and your social media numbers and see what you're doing. Like, well, they want to see that it's working before they get behind it these days. It used to be they see the talent, they sign you, they take you in the studio, they put you with a bunch of writers, get your great songs recorded, and then they, get their whole team around you and push you. And they just don't do that anymore. They want to see you already doing it, already putting out the songs, people already liking these songs.
Get yourself to the 5-yard line, we'll take you into the end zone.
That's a good way of looking at it.
So ageism, I've heard a lot about that here too. You've got a friend named Daryl Hooper who introduced me to you, actually, full disclosure.
Thank you, Daryl.
Good man. Tell us about him and that story.
Well, there's a Lakeview Market, little coffee club, bunch of old men down the road from my farm. I pop in all the time and have breakfast and sit with them. I like talking to old men, and there's an 85-year-old man, 92-year-old man up there, and I just sit and drink coffee and we talk anything and everything. Daryl frequents that place too, so he came in one morning and dropped his card right there, and he's like, "I heard you do music. I do too. Hit me up." I was like, "All right." And I put it in my pocket, and I kind of just forgot about it. And then a month later, saw him again. He handed me another card, and then he left. And the old men I was drinking coffee with were like, "Yo, you need to ride with Daryl. He's a good rider." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Okay." So I finally hit him up. He lives right down the street from me, so we're friends now. Like, we don't ride as much as we did in the beginning. We just, we're just really good friends now.
He's in one of your videos.
Yeah, man, he came over the first day to write, and I had a song idea, and we ran with it, and he was perfect for it. It's called Boots, and he played banjo on it, and it's a really cool song. He came back over a couple weeks after that, and we wrote Walking the Floor. It's out right now. I'm still working on Boots, but Walking the Floor turned out great. It's very, it's got that 90s country feel with the steel guitar. I love the way that track turned out.
Yeah, it's a cool one. Let me throw out another quote for you. "My definition of country music is simple. It's when someone sings about their life and what they know from an authentic place." That was Taylor Swift, whose #1 hit, "We Are Never Getting Back Together Again," was written by Max Martin, not even her. What do you think of that?
I mean, yeah. Most of my songs are about, like, it's all truth, and I think that's the key, because people and country music fans know if it's the truth or not. And I think they also know if you're authentically country or not. But yeah, you can't, people will, they will figure out if it's a bunch of BS real quick. And I can say honestly that every song that we've written that I've put out is every one of them is a true story. Actually happened to me, relationships, people dying, losing loved ones. Yeah, they're all like children to me. So I'm not going to put something out unless it's like true to my heart.
And that's for you to sing your own stuff, right?
Well, not just me. Like I can. There are a lot of songs that I can relate to. That when I hear them, I'm like, man, I wish I'd have written that because that's me, you know. And I feel like that's the key, is writing that song that connects with people so much that they go, man, that is exactly how I feel.
I always think of like Prince writing a song like Nothing Compares to You for Sinead O'Connor. Like you would think Sinead O'Connor wrote that song, or any Who song actually. You would think Roger Daltrey wrote those because he delivers them so well, but actually Pete Townsend wrote most of their stuff, right? And you can go on and on. Lee Strobel for Elvis, he didn't spend any time in jail, but you believe Jailhouse Rock was like a real life experience. And there are folks that sign with labels just for writing, and some do both singing and songwriting. Can you make a living just doing the writing these days?
It's harder. Again, artists are making the money because of touring, you know, ticket sales and merch, you know.
Songwriters aren't getting paid for that.
Well, I mean, I had somebody tell me the other day, a publisher, he's like, you know, Morgan Wallen's got like 300 and something million streams or something on this one song, and it only paid out like $70,000.
Wow.
And that just that blew my mind. And I haven't vetted that or anything, but like it kind of didn't surprise me a little bit, because I keep hearing
it used to be like, let's say he sold 300,000 albums, so that would be $1 an album.
Yeah,
maybe,
I mean, dude, that's generational wealth, like boom.
Yeah.
But it's not like that anymore. It's because of the streaming platforms, and you know,
like people think water is free at a fountain, music is free because it used to come over the radio, but now it's screaming for pennies.
Right. Well, Napster kind of started all that.
Sure.
You know,
I remember Metallica fighting them real hard.
It's crazy if you think about it. I mean, like that was a long time ago too, and people were getting music for free. I remember having to go to Walmart and buy the Alan Jackson cassette tape, Chattahoochee.
And sometimes to rebuy it because it would wear out.
Yeah, I know. And I had it through I had like a cassette player that connected to my mom's minivan, and I just was like, rewind it, play it again, you know.
I'm like, had a reel-to-reel. That's how old I am.
Oh, that's awesome. But like I remember having to go buy it if I wanted it, and I loved doing that. I loved hearing like I was big into alternative rock when I first started playing Nirvana, all that stuff. Like, and I loved listening to the record on the radio and hearing the music and singing along to it, and I couldn't wait to go buy it when it came out so that I could look at the lyrics and tell what they were saying, because, you know, remember Pearl Jam records back in the day? I'd be like, what is he saying? I don't know what he's saying, you know? I
lived there through all that. I remember my first gig was I would get a boom box that had 2 cassette spaces, and you would wait for it to come on the radio and hit play record, and you would get it off the radio, and yes, you get the DJ intro and outro, but at least you had the song, so you didn't buy it either. So it was like an early Napster. It was just ripping it off anyway, and then of course Apple comes around. And I
had a producer, engineer I worked with, and rest in peace, man, I miss him. His name was Don Shrigley. He actually gave me this coffee mug. Oh, cool. It's from Fame Studios. So I worked out of that studio with him for years, and I was complaining to him about this topic.
Does the camera see that?
I don't know if the camera can see it, but it's the water tower that has Fame Muscle Shoals on it. But yeah, I remember venting to him about this topic, and he turns around from the recording console, and he goes, I don't know why everybody gets all shook up about, you know, people stealing music, because the truth is, if they're stealing it, then it's good. So why is everybody complaining? And I'm just like, okay, you make a good point. I loved that man. He was so talented, and cancer got him, and I miss him. But I still have the Good at Goodbye that I have out right now on all streaming on all platforms. He engineered that and mixed it, and When I'm Drunk, he mixed that one too. We cut it at Fame Studios in Shoals.
Okay. You have the album right there, Muscle Shoals.
Yeah, that's a great album. They did that project a few years ago, and there's a Bob Dylan song on it that has like Willie Nelson and Jamie Johnson and Leanne Womack singing it, and You're Gonna Have to Serve Somebody.
We've lost all the outlaws except
Dude,
Willie. He's the last one left.
You have to check that track out though. I love the song. It's a really popular Bob Dylan song, but something about Jamie Johnson, you know.
I always liked Bob Dylan better as a songwriter than a singer myself.
Oh yeah.
So to hear someone else with talent do it,
you either like love his voice or you hate it.
And for some reason, Bruce Springsteen and Bon Jovi are trying to emulate that. It's like no, go back the other way when it was talented singing.
Well, that's just influence, you know.
What do you think of this quote? I want to reach the point where people hear my name and immediately think of real country music.
God, that's cool.
That's George Strait.
I mean, yeah.
What do you think of George Strait and
what a career!
Yeah.
What a career, man!
He just sold out Texas Stadium, 100 and something, the most ever.
And one of my favorite songwriters, Dean Dillon, has written probably like 40 of his number ones or something like that. I love George Strait all the way back to Unwound, and which was a Dean Dillon song.
He's sort of the godfather now of country music.
Yeah, I wouldn't say George Strait is like a lot of people call him the king of country, but I believe that George Jones is the king of country music. I don't think that they're, in my opinion, I don't think
the living king. How about that?
There you go. But to me, like comparing George Strait's vocal to George Jones's vocal, it's like not even. You shouldn't even. They're not in the same room, man. But like,
that actually leads me to my last quote that I wanted to throw at you. A lot of cowboy country music is sad. Comes out of poverty and hard times. 3 chords and the truth. There is a lot of heartache in the world. Willie Nelson. I think of Luke Bryant's party songs versus, say, Patsy Cline, Crazy. Hard to be so angry and upset and heartbroken when you're super rich.
That's a good point. I love Willie Nelson.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
Came out on the wrong side of politics, but he's 90 something, so he can say what he wants.
I guess, again, I love just keeping it about the music, but yeah, quotes from Willie, like, probably doesn't get any better than that. I have a friend that got to go out to Maui he has a place in Hana, and he got to go spend a couple weeks with him and interview him and stuff, and he said they smoked a lot of weed.
I bet they did. It's kept him pickled.
Yeah, man.
Maybe that's where the other guys, Chris Christopherson and I guess to some extent Johnny Cash went wrong, is they didn't continue doing that into their later lives. They found out and cleaned it up. And
I heard
dirty, and he's still with us.
Yeah, I heard Jerry Lee Lewis in an interview. Like he said something like that. He was like, "I saw all my buddies around me dying, and they were drinking, and the ones that weren't drinking were doing fine." He was like, "That I just didn't want to die." So he quit, and he passed recently, but he outlived all of them but Willie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
Chris just did. Chris just died.
Yeah. Yep.
I always remember that in his book, Keith Richards said something like, "I always figured I would just buy new blood." So but he was using a whole different type of cocaine than the people that on the streets. So not exactly a happy story. So when you first got here, it was a much smaller pool of fish in not even 10 years ago. How has Music Row changed while you've been making it here?
Well, the Row is still there, but a lot of people have actually moved over to Berry Hill. So, and I think that's just because of Nashville kind of had a boom.
Traffic is horrible.
A real estate boom, though. So that pushed up prices on Music Row, which is like prime real estate, It's
got Virgin Hotel at the end.
Yeah. And I think that's what moved the road, but all these publishing companies, they're still doing it, and they're just over in Berry Hill by all the studios. But yeah, I just still have like I have dreams of like going back in time and being part of the community back then, because that's what all the old writers tell me, is that back in the day that 16th and 17th Avenue.
Well, Alabama guys used to live there and just stumble out onto the street and stumble back in.
But everybody was there.
They were there. Yeah.
So it was like every day.
Artist conclave.
Yes, and songwriters, and they said that it was just like a big family. It was like everybody knew everybody saw everybody every day. And I think that it kind of sucks that's gone.
Right.
That's
Everyone's
gone
stuck
away.
in their houses doing their own little garage band stuff,
Or looking on TikTok to see how many followers you have, and
or
that
Britney
being
Spears dancing on TikTok,
and that being the determining factor of whether or not they want to write with you or not. It used to be like you're at the coffee shop on 16th Avenue and you bump into somebody, and but now it's like it's all social media now.
Do you think the model can break? Do you think we can go back like a pendulum swinging to the other way, where guys like you
I'm
who
seeing
have a
it.
little island where people can come and meet, and we talked about some other artists that you didn't know yet that you'd love to sit down with. Could that really work? And say the Warner Brothers, the Sony, even Curb, now that they've gotten so big, they've changed things to make it more commercial, just like Hollywood did. But now it's hit country music, which they are now calling Hollywood East anyway. Do you think the pendulum could swing back to where the independents and the poor kid from Florida can come up here and make it big?
I think it is. It's ever changing. And as far as independents go, Drew Baldridge, I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's the first independent artist to achieve a #1 song at radio. That happened about a month ago, I think. And that, there's a pendulum swing.
There is, yeah.
Right.
So the technology can actually work in their favor as opposed to against them, like we're just talking about.
I think that
Elvis never would have been discovered if they had to rely on TikTok. I mean, the dude was living in Memphis in dirt.
Yeah. I just think it's ever changing. Social media, it helps for an independent. I mean, if you have a little bit of a budget, you have good songs, good video content, you don't need a label. I mean, you can build 500,000 followers, just on your own, as long as you have a plan and a budget. And
so it could actually blow up the label model, the old.
I think it is actually.
Clive Davis kind of, I own you 360. Yeah. Now they could say, no, I'm independent. I can be an artist.
Well, the labels have been downsizing for years because of all of this new technology and TikTok and algorithms, and they're even going.
They're not making the money either if the artist can't make the money.
Right,
they're the last to be paid.
They're even going as far as signing influencers to their label. I don't know if you know this or not.
Do.
So, like,
I'm open for business, folks.
Well, hey, but that's the thing, is because they need outlets for their artist, right? So instead of paying these influencers like $500,000 a pop or whatever to if they got 1 million followers to push, one of their artists, they're just approaching them and saying, hey, we want to sign you to our label.
A new advertising.
Then they own that person and all of their followers and influence, and then they can take all of their artists and just kind of channel them through. Yes.
And the last political cycle we just ended on Tuesday, they were doing that too. They were paying influencers a lot of money to say what they wanted to say. So there goes their credibility if it's.
But that just goes to show that's the model, though. Like if you're doing that in a presidential election, like to get to people, that's the model. Yeah. Like it's not
like $2 million or whatever, $20 million to spend for a 30-second ad at the Super Bowl, or somebody on TikTok who likes to dance with their cat on their underwear, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
might as well.
It's the world we're living in now.
This is a great segue, because I got to spend some time with John Rich, and he's pretty political and outspoken about it.
Yeah, he
most
is.
Aren't. Not many are. I think Jason Aldean has been very as well, but 2 out of 1,000. They just would rather make the music. He says that the suits at the labels are all woke and won't let artists express themselves, especially if they are conservative, want to say Jesus Christ, want to say God, want to say patriotism. which is crazy because Lee Greenwood, huge success with Proud to Be an American. Even Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA, huge success. So why would they kill the golden goose? Do you think they've squeezed out the outlaw spirit of country by doing that?
I think it's happening because the people that are in positions of power are thinking that way. And somehow, like, the majority of those people in those positions are thinking that way. They're not thinking like John Rich. I think that goes across the board, not just in the music industry, but like corporate America. Like,
I'm pretty convinced every other genre is sold out for the worst, like rap and pop and whatever. But country was the last.
It was,
stand.
yeah, it was. But like, there are still that didn't change the country music demographic, though.
Right,
they're still there.
And
they're still consuming country music. Those are right-leaning conservative people, that
probably still have record players.
They're God-fearing, beer drinkers, whatever you want to call them. I mean,
deplorables, as Hillary would say.
Yeah, I think that those fans are never gonna quit consuming country music. I mean, they're, if anything, I think that they're begging for it.
And they're also the most critical for the authenticity, because if they can tell that Patsy Cline got beat around a little bit, and if all of a sudden Beyonce is going to join it, they're like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, they're pretty cutthroat. I mean,
you don't do that. Lovable Losers says on your website, you focus on authenticity and creativity, a comprehensive platform for artists to develop their craft, share their stories, and connect with audiences. That's what it's about. Tell us about, what was it? Badass you put out at the Tin Room, and you do some veteran stuff.
Yeah, I didn't. I just James wrote that song. I helped him produce it. He didn't have any money, so I did it on the cheap. And yeah, that was just something that I wanted to help him do. But
the Tin Room or the album? We talked about the album, but I think you did a charity event at the Tin Room.
Tin Roof.
Tin Roof.
Yeah, Tin Roof is on Demumbrium Street, and I've done, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 lovable ride-arounds with them. They've been nice enough to have us, so thank you, Tin Roof. But yeah, like, basically I was just trying to help James out. This wasn't anything to do with Lovable. It's just me helping a friend out. He wanted to put some music out,
but you knew how. That's the key.
Yeah, I've been producing for years, and we actually tracked that in a garage in East Nashville with my favorite guitarist of all time. He passed away a few years ago, JT Cornfloss. I don't know if you know him, but if you look his name up, you're going to be blown away. He's played on, pretty much everything for like two and a half decades of country music. Everybody from Luke Bryan to Eric Church, Josh Turner, Jake Owen, like you name it. He was the guy.
He died last year?
I think he passed, I think it was 2 years ago, okay. I think. And yeah, he actually rolled. I didn't know that he was doing that bad at the time. I knew that I wanted him to play on this track because I knew he would give me what I was hearing. And his son came with him, and they rolled an oxygen tank into that garage to record that day. And I was like, JT, man. And he's like, I'm good. I'm ready to play. Give me the chart.
Is it his last track?
No, it wasn't his last track. He went on for, a little while after that, but
this is Badass we're talking about.
Yeah, that was that track. But I worked with JT Cornfloss on When I'm Drunk, Good at Goodbye. Yeah, he was my guy for a while, and I'd still be working with him if he was still with us. But yeah, I still have that visual of him rolling that oxygen tank in, and that inspired me so much.
There's a song in there somewhere.
Yeah.
September 19th, you were featured at the Fill-In Station presented by Fiddle and Pick, which is, we talked about that. I know that place because my wife does Fiddle and Pick, and that's your writer, Daryl Hooper's place. Fiddle and Pick up the road a mile from here. How'd the Fill-In Station show in Kingston Springs go?
It was good. It's Daryl's shindig, you know. He asked me and Daniel if we were available to play, and we just kind of threw it together. I also had another Mississippi artist I'm working with, Hallie Bryant. She came and did a couple songs. She did one that we wrote. I'm currently producing her first EP.
Look for that.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Apparently, I'm being drawn to Mississippi.
And do you like writing or performing better? Or you like them both? Or do you like it when it comes together and it's performed?
Both coming together. Like, there's nothing like putting your heart and soul into a song and thinking about the people that are going to be consuming it, like during that write, and just nailing it, and then going out and performing it and watching people's reactions to it. And it's just really, really cool. Because, I mean, I've had people come up in tears after hearing me sing a song that I wrote in here in this room. And
you got that voice, man.
but it's also the lyric too. I'm like, I always try to. I had another friend that passed recently. He was a square dancer on the Opry, and I got to go backstage at the Opry for the first time years ago because he invited me as a square dancer. I was like, this is so cool, dude. And he looked at me and he was like, man, I want to give you some advice. He's like, you're going to be on this stage one day. I know it. He's like, but just remember, it's not about you, but it is about you. And I still have that in the back of my mind every time I'm writing a song. I mean,
have you been to the Opry?
I've never played. I've never played the Opry. I've only Mo Pitney, good friend of mine, invited me backstage one time. Stephen Lyles with Love and Theft invited me one time, and Daniel Bell, square dancer, invited me as well. And yeah, I that first time I was side stage, and Randy Owen, Alabama, they were out there doing a song, and I just remember like having chills in my whole body, and it was like God was telling me, you better get ready, you know. I mean, I know this is wishful thinking and a lot of optimism. I mean, I just had a moment that I was like, man, I can do this, you know. I can, and not only, you know, that feeling, but the songs, you know, I really believe in the songs that we're writing. They're honest, they're real, and it's real country music.
So who inspired you to write? I know we talked about a lot of singers that are out there today and that you've actually been lucky enough to work with, or they've been lucky enough to work with you, to be honest, but who inspired you to put the pen down the way you do? 12
years old, into my twin bed, watching the Bluebird on TV.
Huh.
And I see it was Craig Wiseman, and he was telling the story about writing the good stuff. And I'd heard that song a million times, and I just remember looking at that TV screen and hearing him. You know, he's a big, heavy guy. I think he lost a bunch of weight since then, but he was just this big, average Joe looking guy, you know, and sounded like me talking. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to write songs for other people. And, you know, that's what got me writing. So I actually started writing like before I played guitar. That probably had a lot to do with me wanting to play guitar too. Just I watched the Bluebird all the time, and such an inspiration. Hearing the story, and then this dude saying, "Yeah, Kenny Chesney cut it and paid for my first house." You know, I'm like, that's it. That's what I'm gonna do.
Oh,
yeah.
Miles Kennedy told me once that he was the guy who used to play on his bed, jumping up and down with a tennis racket as a guitar before he got up to, you know, take over for the Alter Bridge guys and all that. Was that you? Were you the kid?
I didn't play tennis, so I didn't have a tennis racket. But no, I just
straight to guitar.
I would watch that show though when it aired on TV. I watched it all the time. I loved the story. Maybe that's something that we missed earlier talking about country music. It's the story, you know. It's not just
that's why it's called Storytellers at Bon Aqua for Johnny Cash's barn. It's
but the story within the story, though, this bought me a house. You know, Kenny Chesney cut this story. You know, it's like that's a story. Like it just
the song becomes a story of somebody's life.
I think you have to have the story for it to work, period.
That's awesome.
And it's just a continuation, I think.
I saw a clip of you online, I'm pretty sure, with Ashley Campbell, Glenn Campbell's daughter.
She's amazing.
Did you ever meet him and tell us about her?
I didn't get to meet Glenn.
She was playing a stand-up bass, I think, twice her size, so she must be a little thing.
She had just bought that thing, no joke, and everybody in the room, we're all friends with her, right? And we look over at the bass or something, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I just got it," and I'm thinking like she just got a fretless stand-up bass, like she's gonna have to spend some time learning it, and she goes over there and just grabs it and starts playing King of the Road, and I'm like, God, you can't, boy, you just can't deny like genetics sometimes. Like,
Did you meet Glenn?
I didn't get to. No. I wasn't friends with Ashley. Also friends with Cal Campbell. Love their mom. Kim is a sweetheart. But I didn't become friends with Cal and Ashley and their family until a few years after his passing. But
pretty close brush with greatness.
Yeah, dude, they're so talented. Cal plays drums for Beck. I don't know if you ever heard of Beck.
Oh yeah.
I'm a
loser, baby.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Cal is a really talented engineer. He mixes for me sometimes too. He's a phenomenal drummer. Yeah, he actually engineered and mixed the House Party EP for Daniel House.
So there you go.
So
small town. Your logo right there,
yeah,
is a guy on crutches with a cast on his leg.
Yeah, man.
Gotta be a story behind that. Looks like Chaz Walker, the guy in your press releases.
That's his name. I bought an investment property down the road from here, and ended up moving into it. And my neighbor at this house, his name is Chaz, and Chaz and I became friends, and he started coming out here and just kind of popping in during some co-writes and stuff, and he'll come out and cook for us sometimes too. And I just decided that it was fitting to name our guy after our mascot here, our real life mascot here at Lovable, and we gave the walker, well, the broken leg kind of, like, I didn't even have that vision. Like the Lovable Losers came from a Waylon song called Honky Tonk Heroes. You ever heard that one?
I'm sure I have. I didn't focus on the lovable loser part though. So tell us.
Them lovable losers and no account boozers and honky tonk heroes like me. Yeah. That's where that came from. So
good choice.
Yeah, we pulled that out of that song. I didn't really have the vision of the crutches or the cast or anything. I just sent it to my artwork guy, Dean Tomasek, and I said, "Man, I love King of the Hill, and I kind of just want my own King of the Hill character."
Okay.
So that's how that happened, And he sent it back. Originally, he had a cigarette in his mouth, and I was like, I don't know, And Dean was like, "Yeah, we probably shouldn't do that." So we took the cig out, and yeah, he's a lovable loser, It's like the Chicago Cubs, It's like the Cinderella story kind of thing, or like James Travis Dawes, for example, like that.
Or like veterans. Tell us about your love for the veterans.
I mean, yeah, I've been doing, honestly, like, I didn't have as much of an appreciation as I do now, and it didn't happen until I started working with creative vets. And basically that Richard Casper started Creative Vets as a therapeutical way for veterans to like get whatever they wanted to get out and off their chest into a song. So Richard started scheduling co-writes with Nashville songwriters and veterans, and they would kind of, take submissions. And
this is very similar to the Charlie Daniels charity that does similar.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that, but that's what got me, like, it got my heart, man. The first time I got in a room with a veteran and you know, just let them talk and tell their story and some of the things that they went through that, you know, that I can't repeat, but like, it's just like, oh my gosh, man. Like
things we humans aren't supposed to go through. Did you turn it into songs or something?
I mean, yeah, I've done it. I've done that program many times. But sorry, I almost got teared up a little bit. Just, you know, the stuff that I've heard, I just felt lucky to, you know, that God made me and gave me the ability to make music, to write music, and to be able to take these deep, deep feelings and anxiety and all of that PTSD and everything, and just take it and put all that energy into a lyric form, that, you know, and music, and, you know, being able to give these guys a finished song, you know, after 3 hours of hanging with them and listening to their story, and seeing it help them, you know, and seeing them cry and hugging it out, and that's what got that's why I'm so passionate about it now, and I'm so grateful for
authenticity. It doesn't get any
I know.
I think Toby Keith and Lee Greenwood probably saved more veterans from suicide than
Right.
probably all of the psychiatrists in the
Right.
VA.
Because it's like they look at their sacrifice and everything that they've done, and then they're like, you know,
Why?
was it worth it?
Right.
You know, and I'm like, yeah, it is. Like, yeah, they don't even stop there. So after the song's written, they send the guys back home, and then they fly them back in, and they book a studio on Music Row for the whole day, and they have every one of these veterans and the songwriting teams that they paired them with come into the studio, and they track it, and they mix it, master it, and gift it to them.
Amazing.
And they get to listen to that song that they wrote. It's about all the things that they've gone through, and yeah, it's amazing. I haven't done.
I don't see Death Row Records doing something like that. I mean, that is country.
It's making a difference with music, and that's why I'm doing it. Like you know,
Their soul back.
Yeah,
literally.
But I wrote. Speaking of, I wrote. Not this wasn't a Creative Vets deal, but I wrote a song with the veteran Sandra DeVault, and she had this idea. She was working for a government agency, you know, well after her service in the military. I can't say which agency she was working for, but she said that she felt like every time she'd pull into work, there's this huge flagpole right there in front of the government building, and she said that she felt like it was half staff, you know, like all the time. And she said it just made her sad as a veteran. She just wants to see it fly, like leave it up. I mean, she said, I get that you bring it down out of respect, but it's just like when I see it, it makes me sad because I want it to fly, like let it fly. So that was her title she had that day. Let it fly. And we wrote it. I think we got like a verse, chorus, and then we got stuck, and it was just me and her. So I had to write with Warner a few weeks later. And it was with Drew Parker. He's a Warner artist. And Dan Smalley used to be a Big Machine. He's independent now. But I was in the room with these two guys. They had a song idea that they were working on a little bit, and they pulled me in on it. And I was like, well, since y'all already had a little bit of this going and you let me jump on it, I'm going to let you jump on another one. So they jumped on the Let It Fly idea. And we ended up finishing it that day, bridge and everything. And yeah, I've been sitting on that song for years and done nothing with it. And I think this past weekend, I just decided I'm going to put it out. And I tracked it, but I didn't finish it. So we came in Monday morning and Tuesday morning and finished the tracking. So it's completely done. Mixed, mastered, actually shot the video Tuesday afternoon after we finished the track. So we literally finished the track Tuesday morning. We'll go out to Country Rebel and shoot the video Tuesday afternoon.
And how can people see it?
Well, I just got it back this morning, so
Soon.
I'm probably gonna release it like maybe Sunday. I'm thinking, just so it can go ahead and get into all the social media platforms and ready to go for Veterans Day on Monday.
Does she know this is about to happen?
I called her.
Okay.
I called her on Monday, and she was crying. She started crying, and yeah, again, going back to my love for veterans, like this song is going to help so many people,
That's what it's all about.
and that is exactly right. That's why I'm doing it. You know.
Exactly right. All right. Well, you're gonna play a couple for us, right? Tell
Yeah,
us the
man.
titles and how you came to these songs. And
Yeah,
let's hear it.
I've got a new song coming out titled "Get Lost." Really excited about this song, and I want to play that one for you.
Thank you.
And then "Walking the Floor" is out right now on all platforms, and it's doing really well. We got a music video out. It's got a couple 100,000 views on Instagram, so people are liking it. I just want to say thank you to everybody that's downloading it. I'm blown away. All right, let's keep it going.
Let's do it.
Thank you, brother. The song is called "Get Lost." It's about missing your girl, working all the time. Hope y'all like it. You know they say you gotta map it out if you wanna know your way around. It takes a toll in between the lines. Sometimes you gotta get off the path and unwind. But I get lost in the grind and spending all my time trying to find my place on this earth. No matter how high you climb it, you just can't hide it. Gotta take the truth for what it's worth. All I can say is when I get home, I wanna get lost in your touch, in your unconditional love. Yeah, I wanna get lost in your smile and the way you drive me wild. But I get lost in the grind and spending all my time trying to find my place on this earth. No matter how high you climb it, you just can't hide it. Gotta take the truth for what it's worth. All I can say is when I get home, I wanna get lost. Yeah, I get lost in the grind and spending all my time trying to find my place on this earth. No matter how high you climb it, you just can't hide it. Gotta take the truth for what it's worth. All I can say is when I get home, all I can say is when I get home, I wanna get lost.
Porter, that was amazing. Thank you for your time. We are at the end here, so tell everyone where they can go to find out more about you, follow your social media, any gigs coming up.
Porter Martin, all socials, Spotify, all platforms, Apple Music, Amazon Music. I'm playing here in town. I got a few dates on the books, but they're private gigs. But
Sorry, folks.
yeah, but I usually pop in and play a lot of songwriter rounds. But right now we're just focusing on dropping new music, dropping new videos. Y'all be sure to Veterans Day. I got something special coming out for you guys, so I think you're gonna love it.
Very cool. Is
Thanks
there a website where everybody can go and see all your old stuff and new stuff, or is Facebook your main thing?
I mean, it's doing mostly everything on TikTok and Instagram. But if you just search Porter Martin, there's not another one. So hopefully still not another one. But thank y'all so much for checking my music out. Love you.
All right. Well, thanks for letting us do this and
Thank
opening
you,
our
brother.
doors for us.
Yeah.
That is it for this episode. Thank you, Porter Martin, for keeping the outlaw country music tradition alive and well in Nashville, Music City, Tennessee, and raising up these great writers for us to enjoy. This is goodbye for now. I'm your host, Steve Abramowitz, editor-in-chief of heartlandjournal.com. See y'all next time. Peace in our time, and definitely glory to God.
Any views or opinions represented on the podcast are personal and belong solely to the creator and do not represent those of people, institutions, or organizations that the creator may or may not be associated with in a professional or personal capacity unless explicitly stated.